I'm feeling hot, hot, hot. Yes, guys, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boy Big Dave as Tottenham Hotspur have put the hot back in Hotspur as we welcome Swedish sensation, new signing Lucas Bergvall to the football club. Now, what I'm not going to do is sit here and profess and pretend that I have an extensive knowledge on the guy because in reality, I don't. And you're not going to find many people out there that do. But what I do have is a few sort of thoughts around the signing. Why I think it's an absolute massive coup for Tottenham Hotspur. Why we couldn't sign him right now, and my thoughts on the signing overall. So, what I would like you to do is hear me out. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below as I discuss mine with you. Now, for me, that seems fair. So let's get straight onto it. I'm going to start with why I think this is a massive triumph for Tottenham Hotspur. Now, fans of my era, of my age, would have grown up in an era where Tottenham were always the bridesmaid and never the bride. As soon as Tottenham were linked with a player, if a Chelsea, an Arsenal, a Liverpool United, let alone a Barcelona, a Real Madrid, or a Bayern Munich came calling, we knew to forget about it, you dash your dreams and go and look elsewhere. Famous cases, you had Willian turned up at the Tottenham Hotspur training centre, ready, done a medical and everything else, left and went and signed for Chelsea. Under Harry Redknapp, we looked to sign Eden Hazard while he was in France as a young lad, before Chelsea could even get his hands on him. However, he turned down Tottenham Hotspur, and these are his exact words. Go and look it up if you do not believe me, because we were knocked out of Champions League that year. Now, we're not even in Champions League. We've already got Lucas Bergvall to sign on a dotted line over Barcelona's advances, where they rolled out the red carpet and brought in Deco to try and convince him. Dragusin also turned down Bayern Munich to join Tottenham Hotspur. And whether we think Werner's good enough or not, he also turned down the opportunity to be able to go to Man United to come to Tottenham Hotspur. And even in the summer, Mikey Moore rejected the advances of a Real Madrid and a Borussia Dortmund, knocked them back to sign a scholarship contract at Tottenham Hotspur before he gets his professional contract, which is absolutely huge and shows to me at least that we are a desirable destination for hot, young, up-and-coming talent that the whole world, all the big major clubs around the world have their eyes on and are advancing towards. But yet they want to choose Tottenham Hotspur as their destination, which for me represents a change in the times, and one I'm absolutely delighted about, because as a boy, as a kid growing up, I dreamed of days like this where we could compete for signatures. Now, obviously, a lot of people will say, but Dave, we're not competing for the here and now. I get that. But this is a start and hopefully a foothold into being able to start competing for the here and now signings with these top clubs as well. Now, let's get into the deal and the way it's structured. So the deal follows as 10 million plus add-ons agreed with Joe Gardens. Bergvall is set to fly into Tottenham on Friday for a medical and sign on a 5-year deal. And then he will go back out on loan to Joe Gardens until the summer, until he comes back here and joins the first team squad. Now, I'll get onto the first team squad in a minute. But many people will be asking, why couldn't we bring him in now? Well, the reason why we couldn't bring him now is the exact same reason why we couldn't bring Vescovic in now. The reason why we have to buy them now and loan them back, and they can't arrive in the UK until they're 18, is because of Brexit rules. It prohibits Premier League clubs and EFL clubs from signing players abroad under the ages of 18. What they used to be able to do is sign them young, bring them in at 15, 16, 17 years of age. They can no longer do that now until they're 18 years of age because of Brexit. So that clears up why we have to sign them now and loan them back to Joe Gardens. Now, just quickly, I also think it does benefit the fact that he goes back there for up until he's able to come here, is because I listen to a lot of podcasts, as you guys know, and there's one that I listen to where they speak to a lot of players that played in the League of Ireland and have made their sort of way over to England since these Brexit rules have come in place. And one common theme that I keep hearing is that they've got the taste of men's senior football in the League of Ireland, albeit not being at the best level. They then go to these clubs in England. Some of them have gone to Crystal Palace and that. They end up playing then in the academy football, and it's such a drop-off in intensity and stuff like that. It can sort of affect you for a little while, especially in your development years, and all you want to do is get straight back out on loan. So for me, I actually think it's good that he is going back out until he is 18. let's address the part about the first team squad. Now, for me, I would take a stab that he'll obviously come back, play some preseason games. He's obviously been promised some first team action of some sort. And I'd say for me, I'm guessing the way that's being put to him is Tottenham Hotspur are going to challenge on all four fronts next season. We're going to qualify for some sort of European football. So we'll have the Premier League, European football, FA Cup, and Carabao Cup. And I've probably said, they said to him, you come in here, you train hard, you continue to impress, learn, and grow as a footballer. You will get minutes off the bench, maybe late in some league games. And if the draw is kind to us in Carabao Cup and FA Cup games, you will probably get some opportunities there. We also have to accept that some of our squad next season will be made up with young up-and-coming talent, which for me is not a bad thing. Because they're keen to impress and they're hopefully on it every single day, it pushes all the professionals in the squad to an even higher level that they can't slack off. And if they do, then they weren't right for Tottenham Hotspur in the first place. Now, I also get that it's going to be a big jump from the Swedish League to the Premier League and a huge ask for the kid to be able to make that sort of step up. However, let's not forget, as Spurs fans, it wasn't so long ago that Tottenham Hotspur used the Swedish League as our young prospects' first introduction into men's football. Prime example, Peter Crouch, Alton Thelwell. Very famous story of them being out there. Also, Alfie Whiteman, who I think was actually loaned out to Djurgårdens in Sweden as one of his sort of first senior moves. So Tottenham have used the Swedish League in years gone by to give their players that step up from the academy and giving them a taste of men's first team football. And what Peter Crouch spoke about on his podcast is that, okay, it wasn't at the best of standards, but what it did do is it helped him develop from a boy into a man. And because he's already got experience in that league, he's already one step ahead. He's already developed from a boy into a man. So now it's time for him to be able to take that next step into his career. So I wouldn't be writing off just because he's only had one season in the Swedish League, that he can't come here and impress, because he's already ahead of where other players were when we used to use the Swedish League as a gateway for our younger players. I also, believe it or not, I don't sit back and watch every game in the Swedish League. So I don't have an extensive knowledge on, how good this kid actually is. But like a lot of you guys, I have watched a lot of compilation reels and whatever highlights I can get my hands on. Now, obviously, they don't show his flaws or how raw he is. They're designed to show your best attributes. But one thing it does highlight to me is that he is technically good and knows how to manipulate a football, which for me is half the battle. He also likes to drive forward with the ball and sort of make things happen. And he has a lot of energy, which are all traits that you do need to get into Ange Postecoglou's midfield, whether it be next season or in the future. But we do have to understand he is not the finished product. He will be raw, and he has a lot to learn as he is only 17. But the good thing about him, because he's only 17, Ange can almost mold him or polish him into the perfect midfielder for his system, especially if he's kept around the first team next season. It gives Postecoglou time to work with the kid on the training ground. And we know how other players have responded to working with Postecoglou. So I can only gather that he'll have a massive impact and effect on his career. Now, I will also add that this signing for me reminds me a lot of Papa Matar signing when we signed them. Many people at the time wanted a player for the here and now, but the guy we brought in was young and raw and loaned back. But look at the player we have now. Bergvall can almost take inspiration from that. Just follow Papa Matar's path to it. Go and speak to him. What did you do? What did you have to learn to be able to get into this midfield and stuff like that? So it's good that he already has someone that has already sort of trodden a similar sort of pathway. I do also want to mention that Johan Lang deserves a lot of credit here. The Athletic David Ornstein has said on this that Tottenham maintained the pursuit led by their Danish technical director Johan Lang and managed to convince Bergvall to opt for them. And also, Ali Gold has said that Spurs have been monitoring Lucas Bergvall for some time, and when technical director Johan Lang arrived in November, he pushed strongly for the club to sign a talented youngster he had earmarked for some time as a major star for the future. So it's great to see that maybe the club's scouting department is lining up with maybe similar to Aston Villa's, right? Johan Lang was there and he already had this guy on his radar. So it's good to see. I know a lot of people sort of look at Aston Villa's recruitment and speak about how good it is. So it's good to see that maybe we're matching up with that and that we are in the pool for very such talented players, but also that Johan Lang, convinced Tottenham to go and pursue this guy to be able to get him in here. It shows that maybe they are on the same wavelength in that department, which we've been crying out for a number of years. And it's also worth mentioning that there was a lot of reports Monday that Kulu, who actually, interestingly enough, comes from the same club in Sweden as Bergvall, showed him around the training centre and spoke to Bergvall about Tottenham. And I reckon that Kulu had such an important play in getting him to sign on the dotted line, basically, laying out how great it is to work for Ange Postecoglou, and you don't want to miss out on this opportunity, which is absolutely great to see. And it's also worth noting that it is Bergvall's 18th birthday today. So big happy birthday to Lucas Bergvall. Everybody, make sure you wish him happy birthday across your socials. And lastly, that I'm going to ask you guys, I'm thinking of an ABBA chant for Bergvall because he's blonde. So get your suggestions in the comment section below, please. And look, that's it from me. Last thing I want to say is that I have sort of said to you guys that we are trying to build a golden generation of youngsters at Tottenham Hotspur. This definitely adds to that list. Now it seems like absolutely everybody is talking about it. So make sure you get on board it, because that is what is happening. The future is bright. The future is lily white. Make sure you smash that like button. Share your comments with me. Come on, you Spurs. In the mighty hands we trust. We never stop.